Okay then. AEW Full Gear Review. Lot to talk about this tonight. A lot of stuff to talk about after a very, very long pay-per-view, which I feel like I've sit for almost 5 hours now watching this show. There's a lot to say about Full Gear tonight. So, number one, I do want to say, before we do begin with this review, make sure you go over there and check out the Urban Wrestling Network, where you can find my videos and others on there. Also, check out the website. It's really good. Just joined up with them and whatnot. So, check out their reviews also. Bodega Wrestling podcast. I just wanted to put that out there first. The Urban Wrestling Network. Go check that out online right now. But other than that, we do want to talk about Full Gear tonight, folks. What do we have to say about Full Gear? Like I said before, there is a lot to talk about this show tonight. And, I want to kick off with a little bit of the pre-show, which I was kind of a little bit late for because I didn't really know what time the show started. I know it started 7 over here. I thought it started an hour beforehand, but I guess I kind of just forgot about the whole pre-show thing. And it was Serena Deeb versus Allison Kay for the NWA Women's Championship. Allison Kay, I don't want to say, I guess, quote unquote, making her AEW debut, which also she is a free agent, to what I've heard also now. So she's not even with the NWA anymore. I think I said this the other day. So I'm wondering, will AEW capitalize on trying to pick her up? Because AEW has made this mistake before, which, we have women that are not signed and have been on this show, but they don't end up signing them. And some say they have let them slip away, like Mercedes Martinez and Deonna Purrazzo, which personally I think they made the right choice going to where they at right now. But I'm not sure if they will offer Allison Kay a contract. A very good match, which I'm almost a little surprised, which was not on the main show, which I'll sit there and say right now, it was better than the AEW women's title match. But then again, this was still kind of made at the last second. Serena Deeb still ended up retaining, and it was a very good match. Like I said, a really good match. Thunder Rosa came out, which, she's still under contract too, and a lot of people think she is a free agent now, but Billy Corgan has said that she is still under NWA contract and whatnot, so she's still with them, and I guess she will be going back for her NWA women. Oh shit, I almost thought I hit the button right there. She will be going back for her NWA Women's Championship, so we'll see what comes from that. But we do kick off the official pay-per-view for AEW. Apparently, they have let more fans in. I heard they've let 1,000 in. You already know how I feel about the fans kind of being back right now in Florida and the whole virus thing. I'm not gonna go into that right now. I've already said what I've had to say about it, but I guess they are increasing people. But like I said, it's not. Hey, in my opinion, I really wouldn't have done that, but man, hey, man, it's not my decision. Like I said, it's my opinion and whatnot. So hopefully everybody stays safe. That's the main and important part out of this whole thing. I just, like I said before, they just mic up the crowd very, very loud so you can hear them while they have their mask on and whatnot. So, like I said, man, it's not my personal choice on that, but I guess, it is what it is, okay? But there was a special commentator before we start off with the first match for Kenny Omega and Hangman Page from Impact Wrestling, the Impact Wrestling EVP. Don Callis was on commentary, which was really great to hear. And people wonder why Don Callis is here on commentary. We all know Don Callis has, he's commentated for Kenny Omega matches, mostly in New Japan when he was doing commentary over there with Kevin Kelly and whatnot. And like I said, they did mention he was, the Impact Wrestling executive vice president and whatnot from over there. So he was on commentary. Like I said, he's Kenny's friend. So we had a 4-man commentary table. I'm surprised they didn't even take out Excalibur and whatnot for this whole thing. But we did get, like I said, Don Callis on commentary for this match. Kenny Omega, though, went against Hangman Page in the finals of this title eliminator to see who's going to win a title shot. Very good match to kick off the show. Very predictable, of course, but it was a very good match. It was a great start to kick off the show with. Like I said, trying to kind of get the old Kenny back with the cleaner and whatnot. A lot of New Japan references. I will say that more and more. as this match went on, especially how they talked about his matches with Okada and everything. But this was a really good match, very brutal several times, especially Omega doing that damn J Driller on Hangman. It looked like he spiked him at one point too. I did kind of like how that power bomb Hangman Page then onto Omega, pretty much like two power bombs. Like he power bombed onto the stage and then power bombed him. Pop a power bomb inside the ring then, which was pretty brutal. Page come back with a big arm and then a German suplex. Pretty much, Omega pretty much land on his feet then, and then pretty much took Cage out with a clothesline. Hangman hit him with the Deadeye then. Still a kick out after that. He set up for the buckshot lariat, but Omega got out of the way then. And basically trying to roll up Hangman for the win. He hit him with a dragon screw on the ropes and whatnot. Hangman pretty much, not Hangman, but Omega pretty much came in, ran him back as Hangman did hit the buckshot. But Omega got out the way then. He hit him with, a few V triggers. And then he picked him up. A little struggle to go for the One Wing Angel, but Kenny Omega ended up hitting the One Wing Angel and winning the match. Basically winning a title shot for the AEW title and whatnot. So we all figured he was going to win and everything. So, like I said, predictable, but a very good match. This was the only time you got to see Don Callis on this show, because trust me, I'm sure a lot of people are sitting there thinking to themselves right now, is it going to be a partnership with New Japan? Is it going to be a partnership with Impact Wrestling? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, because the fact that they even mentioned that Don Callis was part of Impact Wrestling, even JR even said Don Callis before he left, like, you're doing a great job over there in Impact and whatnot. So I don't know what's going to happen, okay? Like I said, it's been hearing, like, all these partnerships have been trying to form lately. People are already thinking that New Japan and Impact are already kind of back with each other at one point, because Chris Bay is in that Super J Cup tournament. But I'll save my New Japan thing for a lot, because trust me, there was a lot going on today on that show with Power Struggle. We'll discuss that another time. But like I said, could this be a first step into this? Maybe it is. I don't know. So at least I am glad Impact Wrestling got a little bit of shine in a way. Like, it wasn't a lot, but at least they got some reference on there and being mentioned on this show. So good for them. And like I said, maybe it will be a partnership. I don't know. Next was Orange Cassidy versus John Silver. I don't know why this match wasn't on the pre-show. I don't know why this match wasn't even on Dark, and I don't watch AEW Dark in general. So why is this even on this show? I don't know. I don't know why this was even on pay-per-view. Okay, I can't sit and tell you that I really cared. It was okay. I would say one thing, John Silver, at least they kind of did put him a little bit over a little, and trying to give him a little bit of offense out there against Orange Cassidy. It wasn't a comedy match all the way, but it was whatever. I can't say I really cared that much. Cassidy won, but you could have put this match on the pre-show, and they said this was a buy-in match, so why wasn't it on the pre-show? I don't understand this. And even like I said, and anyone else will tell you, this is a match you could have put on Dark. And then again, like I said, I don't watch Dark, so I wouldn't have cared regardless. But like I said, Cassidy won. Next, the TNT Championship was on the line. Cody Rhodes, which they did say Cody Rhodes basically came out with his entire squad. And Brandy, got to get a little bit of TV time for Brandy there, folks. Went against Darby Allin, who came out in a car with a skateboard saying the face of TNT and whatnot. Like I said before, they announced him as Cody Rhodes. Mike Chioda is the referee. This was a great match to watch. I enjoyed this match. This was very fun. Like I said, Darby, the guy is great in the ring. The guy just moves really freaking smooth out there. And like I said, I know some say he's out there with Cody and whatnot. This was good, real good. One thing I did like was that freaking crossroads from the top rope, which, when Cody went for the pin, Darby ended up putting his, foot on the bottom of the rope then. Darby trying to even put Cody into a sleeper and whatnot, which still did not go. Pretty much trying to roll him up and whatnot, but Cody was still able to break out of it. I know Cody had slammed him a few times, even gorilla pressed him then. He was going to hit him with his belt then and whatnot, his weight belt and everything, but he dropped it then. Darby Allin tried to put him into the Last Supper, but it did not work. Allin got him, basically hit him with a cutter then, until he got him with the coffin drop. Cody still kicked out right after that, but Cody got him again. Darby had went for a roll-up then, which they kind of back and forth the roll-ups after that, which Darby ended up getting the 3 count, basically as an upset win, which I kind of saw this coming in a way. In a way, it was like an upset, but I figured Darby was still going to get the win in a way also. This was a very good match, okay? I did enjoy this. I enjoyed this a lot. Cody was shocked by, what happened right after. But as, both guys were up, Cody had the title, and he basically took a knee and handed Darby Allin the belt, showing him respect. Like I said, you could have told a great story with this, which they did in the video packages and whatnot, because we have seen these guys face each other before. The first time they went against each other was Fyter Fest, which ended up in a tie. Then they did fight each other in that tournament for the TNT title, and Cody got through that. So Darby had to get the win over Cody right here. And whatnot. But next thing you know, Taz says enough of this. He wanted to vomit to what I'm seeing. I'm tired of all this hugging and tears and whatnot. And he basically said, congratulations, Darby. Yeah, you beat Cody and everything, but yeah, your executive buddy right there, you won't see what's coming next. Next thing you know, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks attacked both guys from behind then, taking them down. But when they both picked up the TNT title, they kind of looked at each other like, I want this belt. We're about to fight each other then at one point. But Taz basically said focus on Darby. And Cage picked him up and basically took him to the car that Darby was on. And they were going to crush his arm or something. Well, they threw Darby through like the full gear set. But like I said, they're going to crash his arm or something into the car. But next thing you know, Willie Hobbs came in with a chair and, basically scared the heels off then as they, started headed for the hills and whatnot. So, obviously, this Darby feud still continues with Taz, which I figured it was going to be because Taz said he was going to have a presence in there. Now, I had predicted in a way that Sting was possibly going to show up because I know about the rumors about Sting, and I kind of had a prediction myself. I was kind of like, Darby could still win the title, but then, Cage and Starks come out and attack. Lights go off. Next thing you know, Sting shows up in the baseball with his baseball bat, starts hitting everybody. Stinger splash, Scorpion death drop, boom, 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 whole thing right there, big pop and whatnot. That's what I figured was going to happen because some say that Darby Allin's like hybrid Sting / Jeff Hardy and whatnot. That's kind of basically what he is. So I've even said that before too, so I would have expected that, but this was still good and everything. So yeah, Darby Allin, the new TNT championship, but still he's still in a feud with Taz, so we'll probably be seeing him defend the belt against Starks maybe. But hey, Cody at least put him over clean, okay? We didn't get Cody putting himself over, as some would say, the new Triple H / Jeff Jarrett out there. He put somebody over clean, okay? He put them over clean, folks. Next, Dustin Rhodes was cutting a promo about the Butcher and the Blade and Allie, the Bunny and whatnot. It's about a bunkhouse match. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hikaru Shida went against Mega Man, apparently, or whatever the fuck Nyla Rose is supposed to be, a Smurf. Vicky Guerrero was out there with Nyla Rose. This is for the AEW Women's Championship. Listen, this match had no build. Well, 1 week build. I didn't even really know this was a match on this show. And we really haven't seen anything from it, okay? I can't say I really cared about this match this much. I think it went too long. I think it was the worst thing on the show. Very botchy a couple times. For some reason, Vicky Guerrero tried to grab Shida's leg and basically used the force to trip her because she didn't even grab it one bit. You missed the whole freaking spot right there. The match, honestly, it was okay, but still botchy and whatnot. And, Shida continuing to, beat up Nyla Rose with multiple running knees. Even a Falcon Arrow, which that first Falcon Arrow did not look good, but like a one off the top rope, but kind of held up Nyla Rose's head and, pretty much put on like a sinister smile then right after that. But after that, hit another Falcon Arrow and then hit it with like another arm, not arm, but hit with like another running knee into Nyla Rose and a few knee strikes and boom, it was over. So, and then what got me was that, okay, Vicky Guerrero started getting pissed at Nyla Rose and slapped Nyla Rose. So, are they already breaking both of these two up? We barely see them on TV as it is. Most of the time, they're just hanging in the crowd. As my friend Steven said, you probably seen them on TV like what, maybe 3-4 times. So what have they done? Like I said, what have they done in this feud? This was a last minute match. The match was okay, but I can't say I really cared about this that much. Like I said, the NWA Women's title match was better. And I even thought about something funny. If they even do work with Impact and they start bringing in the knockouts, I said it right now. The knockouts division and the NWA Women's division is way better than the AEW Women's division right now. And they would probably all come out there and outshine, like the NWA women have already done, and outshine the freaking main roster they got for the AEW women. So, like I said, Sheeta's the best worker you got for the AEW women's title. But who do you move Sheeta on to next, huh? Who? Baker? That's the only other person I see. Like, we already know that match with Big Swole was not good at all. And what other women do you got here? I'm waiting, because like I said before, you got to pull people from other companies just to put on a good match here, because the most of the division is not good. Okay, so once again, this was well, then again, I've already said this many times about the women's division. It's like the worst freaking thing in the company, if you ask me, because it's almost like every week, even on the regular show, they usually have the worst thing on there, or what the time slot's going to be at about 8:30, 9:30, depending where you live at, and you're going to get a 3-4 minute match out of this. So, yeah, the match was okay, but it went on too long, and I stopped caring after. I didn't really care to begin with, but it just went on too long, and I didn't care. I didn't care one bit. So, that's what I really got to say about the whole AEW women's title match. It just wasn't good. Next, though, we got FTR versus the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team titles. If the Young Bucks lose, they will not face for the titles anymore. Tully Blanchard was banned from ringside. This match here, some would say maybe the best match out of the entire night. I think this was good. I know, I think Dax, was it Hardwood? Yeah, he got hurt kind of near the beginning of the match because he punched the ring post outside, and he started bleeding, so they did have to wrap his hand up and whatnot. This was like I said, this was arguably maybe the best match out of the entire night, and whatnot. Some would say. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was really good. I know they were focused on, once again, Matt Jackson's back, which I feel like it's been going on for I don't know how many years at this point, but this was great. Some would say, I will say one thing, and this has to do with a lot of the Bucks matches, a lot of false finishes. Lots and lots of false finishes. And trust me, they even got to a point where they were it turned to like a tag team finisher spot at one point. Because, yes, FTR, and I know it was like tribute and paying homage to past tag teams, but, FTR, they did like the Steiner Brothers Bulldog spot, and they even did the Heart Attack from the Heart Foundation. The Young Bucks doing the 3D Dudleys and the Twist of Fate / Swanton Hardy Boys type of stuff. So that was good and everything. Even FTR doing the DIY finish, Gargano and Ciampa, which they even mentioned. They didn't say Gargano and Ciampa's names, but they said DIY and whatnot. And when they did that finish, but, Nick Jackson came in, stopped it and whatnot. Like I said, we had a lot of back and forth false finishes, even a double sharpshooter at one point, which even we seen FTR do this before the takeover, try to hold each other's hands so that they don't tap out. But, Matt pulling, I think it was Wheeler back into the ring, but his knee gave out, the bad leg, because they were focused on that at one point. And, FTR start going back for Matt Jackson then right after. Wheeler, which here's something, you had the figure 4 leg lock in and focus on Matt Jackson's leg. Nick came in with a 450 after that, basically going into a 2 count then right after. But next thing you know, Wheeler, he kind of came back in, and he had a super kick himself onto Nick Jackson. And then next thing you know, something that FTR never does. They never do this before. And it's not in their moveset. And they've always said this. They don't do flips. No flips and kicks and all. No flips, just fist. And what happens? Wheeler does a freaking springboard 450. Misses the whole thing. Matt Jackson, who has his, he doesn't even have a boot on. he just super kicks Wheeler, and he wins the match, and now we got new tag team champions, okay? So yes, their whole no flips, just fist thing turned against them. Obviously, this match was very predictable, okay? If they didn't say the whole, if the Young Bucks, lose, they don't have to face for the titles again, then maybe FTR would have went over, okay? Because listen, they've been trying to call this a dream match for like past 3 to 4 years. The build-up has been horrible to this match. Let me say this. The build-up was horrible, okay? Because I couldn't even tell who's the faces and heels at this point, and they were trying to make the Bucks like pseudo heels, but FTR's already heels, so who's really the heels here? And the Bucks never really came off as badasses; they just came off as tryhards most of the time. So I think the match did make up for it. I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I did enjoy the match. I just got tired of the false finishes at one point. I didn't mind almost everybody's finishes, they were using. Come on, they even used Marty Scurll's, finger break thing. I think it was like Matt Jackson, he holds the thumb. You know how Marty Scurll breaks everybody's fingers and whatnot. So they did that whole thing. And like I said, it was just like a lot of finisher fest at one point. But, Omega came out and celebrated with the Bucks then. Hangman Page looked like he was going to come out, but he just stood there with his drink in his hand watching, from the back and whatnot. So I enjoyed this match, but at the same time, it was very, very predictable, okay? You just kind of knew the Bucks were winning just because of the stipulation that was involved. But like I said, great match, horrible build. Next, we got the Elite Deletion match, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. So, yes, more cinematic wrestling, folks. And you know what? I've kind of given somewhat Matt Hardy a pass here, maybe just because he was the first one to do it back then on TNA, and I didn't mind it, and I actually liked it at the time before everybody and their mama start doing the freaking cinematic matches and whatnot, because at this point I'm just kind of tired of it at this point, and half of them have not been really good. Like every company's done it at this point. Here we already know Impact has done it, but I'm talking about when Matt Hardy done it first, because now we just seen it from the WWE and AEW and Impact, and you don't know if half of this stuff is even good in that. Like, I kind of give Matt somewhat of a pass just because he was the first one to do it, and I actually enjoyed his. With him and Jeff and everybody else involved, like the Leader Decay or the Ultimate Deletion, or the whole delete thing and whatnot. So I've mostly enjoyed all of those. It's just I'm a little burnt out by it at this point too. But to explain it, Guevara came out with driving up to Matt Hardy's house with a golf cart that had Spanish God on it. Matt Hardy, he was on the phone. He says, "I need you guys to come if he calls." He was talking to somebody. Next thing you know, the drone, I guess Neo won, that Vanguard won. Basically say you were dumb as fuck to come here, as Matt Hardy drove in a giant monster truck over Sammy Guevara's car, which he said, now that's a squash job, insider reference there, which next thing you know, Sammy Guevara, I guess he was not killed under this. He came out and attacked Matt. The referee rang the bell. Sammy did a freaking moonsault off the damn wheel of the car and whatnot. Both guys started brawling then, pretty much up to Matt Hardy's house at one point, which they fought to a ring near his house because they were like by a water fountain and started hitting each other with some type of sticks. But when they got to the ring then, Matt he hit Sammy with like a freaking side effect and whatnot. He even powerbombed Sammy through a table, but next thing you know, Santana and Ortiz were there to help Sammy. Matt Hardy made his phone call, which was Private Party, I guess, coming out of a car, coming to aid Matt for help and whatnot. So they came to help Matt Hardy then. Next thing you know, Sammy ran as Matt Hardy had Roman candles and everything, all fireworks, folks, which he shot them in the air as everybody ducked down, which even though those fireworks were even really fired at them. But next thing you know, he had some more Roman candles then. Like Private Party and them start basically doing a match in the ring almost, which they even did like a poetry in motion onto LAX right there. Matt Hardy still shooting Sammy with fireworks. Sammy's trying to fire back, but Sammy's all in the mud then and whatnot. He's all over the ground. And then some masked dude has the hurricane in for some reason, and he says, either you let go of Sammy or the superhero gets it. Who is it that's under the mask? Gangrel, folks. I haven't heard about Gangrel in a very long time, man. The Brood and whatnot. I'm like, I'm like, Gangrel? And he said, I mentored you back then because, if you remember, back in the Attitude Era, when Edge and Christian left Gangrel, there was called the New Brood, and that was Matt and Jeff, and they were aligned with Gangrel at one point. It wasn't really for that long, but they were called the New Brood and everything. But, Gangrel said he showed no loyalty. Next thing you know, Private Party came back and attacked Gangrel, and LAX was there. And, Hardy helped up the Hurricane. He says, it's been 2 years, and, what took so long? And listen, man, it's long-term storytelling, and, I'm at finally AEW, so we got to finish this and whatnot. Sammy then, he ended up kicking Matt. I don't think it was into the Lake of Reincarnation, but, Helms tried to fight Guevara, but he got knocked into the lake then. And he says, what's a hero to a Spanish god? As Shane Helms came back, he was his reporter self. What's up with that? And Guevara ended up super kicking him back into the lake then, which I guess he turned back to the Hurricane again, which they were back at the ring. Everybody's fighting, and Guevara and Hardy go to the in this dome, or the the Deletion dome or whatnot, or the garage or something. And basically they closed the door. LAX and them couldn't get in there. And, basically I guess the drone knocked the door. And then for some reason they played this very ominous music when they got into the garage then, which I wish they had stopped playing that, because that was just very annoying. I didn't really want to hear that music. It just was not good and kind of distracted the match a little. So they basically kind of fought into another ring in the match garage and whatnot. Which I also thought was funny. Like, we threw this guy in the lake. We let him in last time. If you get it, let him in. And Sammy started choking Matt Hardy then. As they got in the ring with the ropes he started choking him with. Sammy got on a ladder, a very big ladder then. He basically hit a freaking swanton onto the table, onto Matt Hardy. Matt kicked out then. And he says, if you don't do it, I know what will stop him. Matt came back with a twist of fate. And, he speared Guevara off the apron, off to a table, onto the ground then. Guevara's bleeding then right after. Matt ended up just hitting him in the face with a chair. He threw a chair at his face, which looked very brutal. And then next thing you know, he concerto him like Randy Orton, which basically this is almost like this is like the last time we saw Matt Hardy on WWE TV, was when Randy Orton took him out and hit him with a concerto. So that's almost kind of the same thing they did right here with Sammy. So they basically killed this guy right here and, just murdered him. So Matt Hardy won this Elite Deletion match, and it's over, he said, and they threw Sammy Guevara into a trash can, closed the lid, took him out of the dome of Deletion, put him in a truck where Senor Benjamin was awaiting there, driving him away, as the Hardys and just Matt and Private Party and the Hurricane and, Rebby, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to say fuck Rebby in general. I'm sure a lot of people say that. And, because I hear it all the time. And, they all celebrated the win and whatnot. When I saw this match, all I could think to myself was this was almost like a reimagining or almost like a remake of the first Final Deletion. That's what it basically looked like. I can't say it was too over the top this time. Some would say how they filmed it was not as good as past ones. Maybe because Jeremy Borash wasn't involved. I don't think this was that bad. So I would say I don't think they went too over the top with it. I know a lot of people aren't going to be the biggest fans of, cinematic wrestling. I think this somewhat looked a little bit better than the damn football field match and whatnot in a way. But I thought this was somewhat better. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I liked it. Hopefully this whole Sammy Matt feud, I'm just sick of it at this point. I don't want to see it no more, because I don't know who was trying to kill who first, but I feel like they were damn near trying to kill Matt Hardy several times after that. So, like I said, I'm just kind of done with seeing too many of these cinematic wrestling matches, though. So I'm just kind of good on that. I could go away from that for a good while, though. But like I said, either you're gonna like this or you're not gonna like it. I enjoyed to see Gangrel and the Hurricane back. I did like seeing them back in the fold of things after a while, but I thought this was good, but I just thought it looked like a reimagining of the first Final Deletion. I'm almost surprised the boat was not involved, because it looked like it was playing out almost the same way with the fireworks and the ring and maybe not the dome deletion part, but I thought it was close enough. But I thought both of these guys did beat the hell out of each other, and they damn near killed Sammy. So there you go. Hopefully this ends this feud after this and they can move on to something else. Lance Archer, I guess he was beating up some random dude somewhere where Jake Roberts was singing, talking about, what's next for them in AEW. So hopefully something happens for Lance Archer, because, man, they've really screwed that guy up. Next, Chris Jericho versus MJF. If MJF wins, he will be able to join the Inner Circle. MJF, who kind of was wearing like a Chris Jericho light-up jacket with his own gear, came out as Jericho. Everybody sings along to Judas and whatnot, as usual. This was not bad. I can't tell whenever Jericho's in shape or out of shape this week, so you can take it how you want. Trust me, I think people have already said Jericho's already shot himself enough in the foot on especially Twitter. Like I said, I'm not going to go into politics now, but I'm sure you all know what he's talking about. I'm not a very political person, but you know the rest, so I'm not going to go into politics. So you can take what you want about that on Jericho. But the match itself, though, this wasn't bad. I thought this was good. I think some would say from a storytelling perspective, it's going to further along the story and whatnot, but I didn't think this was a bad match. I thought it was okay. It wasn't really that bad. I thought both guys didn't do a bad job out there. I think more was kind of focused on to the finish and whatnot. Both guys are heels, so they're both trying to cheat and everything, but fans were going to be more over with Chris Jericho. MJF still trying to go for that salt to the, earth elbow, armbar and everything after Jericho hit the post with his Judas effect and whatnot. But at one point, MJF had told Wardlow to come, which he handed him his diamond ring, and Wardlow distracted the referee. MJF tried to swing at Jericho, but it did not work. Jake Hager was there to throw Jericho his baseball bat, then Floyd. But then next thing you know, MJF ended up pulling an Eddie Guerrero as the referee looked at Jericho, thought, he hit MJF with the baseball bat, but MJF ended up rolling up Jericho for the win. So it does protect Jericho in a way by distraction win and whatnot, since both heels tried to cheat and everything, but it worked in favor for MJF after pulling an Eddie Guerrero right there. But next thing you know, everybody was standing in the ring. Jericho told the music to stop. I guess he accepted MJF and hugged him. Welcome to the Inner Circle. So we'll see how this goes until one betrays the other, trying to usurp the group and see who will be the leader. But I guess they have now let in MJF into the Inner Circle now, okay? So, like I said, Wardlow and Hager having a stare down with each other. But I guess everything is cool for right now. So it does further along this story with Nat, which, I'm not, like I said, I like this in a way. Like I said, I don't mind the story, some of what's been going on ever since they've been doing this feud. My only little gripe with this whole entire feud is a little Family Guy dance segment they did, which just, you could take how you want to take it, but I just was not really feeling that, okay? But like I said, they still continue this story with MJF and Jericho, so we'll see what happens when, MJF is now in this whole Inner Circle thing. We'll see what happens, but they really need to make the Inner Circle back into bigger heels, because they've become more of a joke nowadays that take too many L's, which they took L's tonight. They took L's tonight again, so they take more L's than they take wins, okay? But next, Somewhat Best Friends and Miro and them, I don't really care. Basically, we got to the main event. Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, I Quit match. I know the commentator said that, Kingston, his gear was kind of like Misawa's, and I think he had a Tracy Smothers shirt on and whatnot. But this was an I Quit match, and, coming into this match, as predictable as this was going to be, you knew you were going to get a war from both of these guys. You were going to get a fight. The promo work has been great, mostly from Kingston and whatnot. You knew you were going to get some great promos as this feud was going, but you still was going to have a predictable outcome. Both guys did beat the hell out of each other, especially getting chairs, bleeding at one point. Both guys, even getting barbed wire involved, like a barbed wire baseball bat. Moxley, using the bat to rake it across Kingston's head and whatnot. Kingston basically come back with a big half and half suplex on him, then even throwing a chair at Moxley's head at one point. He's bleeding also too, so we got both of these guys bleeding out there. Moxley ended up setting up two chairs in the ring, which he ended up suplexing Kingston onto both of those chairs then, and, saying, I'm going to kill you, get up and whatnot. Moxley was still going to go for the, his Death Rider finish or whatnot, but, Kingston basically came back and took Moxley down. He got some tacks then into the ring and put him down there then, but after suplexing, he suplexed him onto the tacks. He suplexed him onto the tacks. Next thing you know, he got some rubbing alcohol then. Yeah, he got some rubbing alcohol and basically poured it onto Moxley's back after the tack's already dead. That's probably the most brutal thing you could see from this match. Was the whole rubbing alcohol. Trying to go into the text. I don't know, I slipped my mind right there for some reason. So yeah, basically, the rubbing alcohol after you go into some tax, which you could really, like I said, you got blood pouring down. You pull rubbing alcohol on, that's gonna hurt. The burning, you just feel the burning from that, can you? You can feel the burning big time. And Kingston suplex Moxley again. Right after that, what else? Which I think he got some more thumbtacks and whatnot, but he had a handful of thumbtacks and kind of scratched across Moxley's face. Moxley then basically had him to the sleeper then, which he was gonna go for basically hit the Gotch style power driver, which they did mention it was Minoru Suzuki's move, which Mox has been doing that for a minute. I've said that for a while now, but since we've been throwing New Japan references out all night, basically he did, like I say, he did Suzuki's Gotch style power drive thing, the whole sleeper into the power drive and whatnot, which was on top of the tax, by the way, too. Moxley hit the Death Rider, but it's still an I Quit match. Moxley ended up having some barbed wire in his hand then. Kingston put his middle finger up. Moxley ended up putting him in that bulldog choke, which Kingston eventually said he quit then after that. So Mox basically won, and he basically said blood and guts. Him and Kingston had a stare down for a second, but Kingston got away from Moxley. He didn't want his help as he left in after that. As Moxley, held up the title, Kenny Omega pretty much walked in and looked at Moxley. And I guess now in a way, because that was kind of like one of the last pay-per-views that had fans there, and before this whole pandemic stopped everything, and that's kind of where we all at right now. Because trust me, they come on, they think maybe there will be another city by that point. That ain't about to happen. Trust me, Chicago over here is really bad with the virus right now, really bad in the state of Illinois. So this stuff ain't no joke out here, okay? But like I said, I consider myself lucky being back at that pay-per-view back in February, because trust me, like I've said many times, I would have had to I would have to get my money back for that ticket I bought. But hey, I'm that nigga, so I basically got lucky, alright? But Revolution, which is the next pay-per-view, which will most likely see Kenny and Moxley for that title, okay? Which some say Kenny may be the one to take the belt off of Moxley, which I could see that too happening also. But like I said, overall, between Moxley and Kingston, brutal match, very violent. Predictable outcome at the same time. I've had conversations with people about Eddie Kingston, what their thoughts are on him. It's like, Kingston, great on the microphone, great promo. It's just some will say the guy looks like shit in the ring, and he's not really that good. Like, he's a brawler type of style and everything, but some say the guy needs to get in shape and whatnot. But he comes more off of like a street fighter in a way than a lot. Okay, so that's what I know a lot of people would say about Eddie Kingston and everything. But like I said, Moxley, he was gonna win this match in general and still retain the title. Overall, for this pay-per-view, I think this was a really great show. I think this was way better than the last pay-per-view. Was this pay-per-view still long and felt really long? Yes, it did. It's went on like almost, what, 4.5 hours and whatnot. Very long show. But I think this was way better than All Out. Because All Out, we just saw too many injuries, too many botches, not really good matches. I think it was only like 1 or 2 matches that helped the freaking show. Too many things that were just really bad back at All Out, which I thought was just a very bad pay-per-view. It was not good, and people said it wasn't. This, I think, was a way better show and a better upgrade this time. So, like I said, I enjoyed mostly everything on this show except for the AEW women's match. That was the worst thing on the show. The Elite Deletion thing, you can take how you want about that, okay? I can understand why people are going to like it, and I can understand why people aren't going to like it. The best match, maybe, I may have give that to either the tag team title match or I'm not even gonna say Hangman and Omega. I think that was really good, but maybe the tag team match I'll probably give it to, and maybe the I Quit match right after. So, like I said, I think this was an overall great show and whatnot. But that's just I wanted to say about one of my probably my best stuff of the night and the worst of the night. Like I said, great show. I just think the women's match was the worst thing on here. The AEW women's title match, okay? But overall, that's my review of Full Gear here tonight. So I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.